All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, sunshines. It is back. Tuesdays live. Super excited today. We have a guest. A guest who is an incredible gentleman that I cross path with on a speaking platform. And we were so excited to be able to get out there and say, we talk about this a lot on the stage is get your voice out there. Every business owner has a story. We don't come up fully hatched into the life of an entrepreneur. And so please give a warm welcome to Coach Chris. Chris, welcome
I'm clapping for myself.
Round of applause for
I
you.
hear you all out there clapping. Thank you. That was a great intro. I don't know if I could have done better myself, but yeah, it's certainly great to meet you, Christine. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So what I love about Chris's journey is Chris did start his earlier, I'm going to say career in the world of real estate. And, many people think, real estate, is entrepreneurship. And so he started as an early entrepreneur, had massive success in the world of real estate that led to leadership, and something I've been talking a lot about in my head. You guys haven't seen it here on the community, but wait for it, is you must lead yourself as a business owner. And so I'm curious for Chris to tell us a little bit about his story of how did he rock it in real estate, and how did real estate become a coach? Tell us a little bit about how you got there.
Sure. Yeah, I could start off by saying I never fancied myself a salesperson. In high school, I was in punk rock bands that wrote lyrics such as "I'd rather die than wear a suit and tie." And here I was, late 2001, 9/11 happens. At the same time, I was on academic probation. I did get kicked out of college because if I didn't like a class, I just didn't go, which led me to have half my classes A's and the other half no credit. So I got put on academic probation. I got my real estate license because I was interested in investing in real estate. And at the same time, I was a DJ. I was working nights and weekends. And I figured, let me, get into real estate until I figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I soon started wearing a suit and tie, and I was the rookie of the year. I was rookie of the year at 21 years old. I really fell in love with just being able to, again, never fancied myself a salesperson, but being able to kind of convert people that thought they could never own a home to owning a home, and just help people solve their problems and give them a really good experience. At the same time, I did start my own entertainment company. So we were doing mobile events, weddings, sweet 16s, bar and bat mitzvahs, like with the entertainment world. And my first year in real estate, I was rookie of the year. And my first year having that company is at the same time I did 8 events. My second year, I didn't do much better in real estate. I still did well, but not any better really. And I did 60 something parties for my entertainment company. And then I left that office, and I said, I've got to figure out how to, list. They say list to last in the real estate business. So that's really when I started to work on my listing inventory in my third year. And that was my first 6-figure year in real estate. And at the same time, I leveraged my entertainment company, and I started to have guys running it for me, and kind of had 3 evolutions of being in business for myself. The first evolution was, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. I'm kind of, I'm control of my own destiny, my own income, what I do, my own schedule. And I don't have to worry about other people. And that was my first evolution. My second evolution was when I was attending a wedding in England, and I had people running my real estate company depositing money into the bank account for me. And I said, well, my second evolution was like, wow, I can have a business that makes money while I'm not there. And that was kind of a cool place to be. And I never thought I would have another evolution until you fast forward to 2010. I'm 29 years old, and some people I worked with came to me and said, hey, we're going to launch a real estate company. We think you'd be a great CEO. What do you think? Well, actually, they offered it to me in 2007. And I said, why would somebody want to do that? Why would somebody want to be a company person and all that? But then I ended up 3 years later, it was offered to me, and I took the position because I just fell in love with people development. I was helping new agents kind of cut their chops and develop their skills, and learning how to have better conversations and generate business, and just kind of teaching them there's a different way. And I really fell in love with people development. So I got out of production and into leadership, launched a company. I was recruiting, I was building a company, I was hiring staff, I was operating as a CEO, and really fell in love with the people development aspect of it. I was really good at that. Fast forward to 6 years from that, I was like, what's next? And half of running companies I really didn't love. I didn't love the politics, and I didn't like the politics. I didn't like being stuck under one roof or with a single company. I wanted to be able to help everybody. So I started Dream Key Consulting. right? And while I was still doing that in 2016, because people started offering me other things, speaking engagements, and can you help me build my business? Can you help me hire people? And I'm a believer that everybody should love what they do. I kind of make no distinction between, they talk about that work-life balance, that business and personal balance. I think it's all together. I think if you just love what you do all the time, whether you're playing golf or whether you're working, it's kind of all together. So that's really what I started doing. And I started helping and branched out of real estate. And my training is around leadership and organizational structure and change management. And I really learned how to help businesses grow through what I call the 3 L's: language, leadership, and leverage. Leadership, what you talked a lot about. And leverage is huge. And most of the people that I work with now, which I'm so passionate about. What happens, Christine? People start a business and they're super passionate about it, and they go and go and go and they love it. Then all of a sudden they get busy and now they're doing stuff. And quite often their job does not remotely look like it did when they started. And I like to make that distinction between your job and your business. Your business is everything collectively, and your job is what you're doing. So I'm really passionate about helping number one, young entrepreneurs kind of grow and blossom into a really good, fully functional business. But then also I get a lot of people that are they used to be passionate about it and they're not anymore. They're kind of stuck. I don't have any more time. I don't have any more money. I don't have any more magic. So let's help you get more time, more money, more magic in your business. And that's what I do. And it's really rewarding. It's really fun. I'm super curious to learn about what other people are doing in their business and how they did it, just like you, kind of finding out about the journey. So that's where I am. And my days are spent on speaking engagements and coaching, either private people or in a group format. And the rest of the time, I'm enjoying life.
I love it, because there's a couple things that I want to highlight, because I think it's so important for everybody who's here in this community to really understand is that, who you start out as isn't necessarily who you stay as. And that's both from your own individual reflection in the mirror and what you want, what your aspirations are, but also what fills your cup changes. And we talk about that. And here in the community, it's like the plot twist. There's moments where I'm going, I don't know if I want this anymore, but both in your personal story, you had those plot twists, but also when you're working with business owners, there is a distinction between, buying yourself a job and running a successful business. And the leverage piece of your business should run when you are not in it day to day, because otherwise you are a business operator and not a business owner. And there is a distinction. You don't have necessarily the same skill set and you don't have the same day-to-day involvement. It doesn't mean you don't have the same impact. And we're all really about impact. That's why we're here chasing dreams and making a positive impact. But I'm curious, how did you come to that moment where you thought, I need to change. I don't want this anymore. Was there a moment? What did the process look like for you? And how did you have the courage to leap?
Well, I talked about my first 2 evolutions of being in business for myself. And the third evolution that came to be once I started running companies was, I might not need or want anything else in my life, but it was to be able to create opportunities for other people. So I think this idea of leverage, it came down to 2 things. Number one was going back and saying, what would I want to do in my business out of all the things that get done? What do I want to do every day? And that could be different for everybody. And by the way, there's nothing wrong if you want to stay a solo operator, right? Like if you want to stay by yourself and have you get your hands dirty in your business. I get that. Particularly people I work with in the restaurant industry are like that. I'll tell you a story in a bit. And then the other end was, do you ever have a receptionist or you meet somebody that you're like, man, this person's exceedingly talented and let me grow fast enough to kind of create opportunities for this person. So actually I wasn't necessarily looking for anything else, but I had people in my world said, man, these people deserve opportunities, whether it's business ownership opportunities or leadership opportunities. And if I am capable of creating a role big enough for them to grow into, I kind of have a social responsibility to do it. So, I had receptionists that turned into operations managers and, people that cab drivers that turned into salespeople that were, that are still going and successful. So I became really passionate about that. What are people good at? What do they want to do? And if I'm capable, can I usher them into that world? And for me, what happened by accident almost is when you help enough people get what they want, everything for you takes care of itself. And then I found myself, this is my role. This is what I'm doing to help people become, to become better versions of themselves, to kind of arrive at a place of their dreams and really just do something that they love every day. And that's different for everybody. And I think that's really the underlying intention of everything that I do now. So yeah, I'm a business coach and consultant, but I want to make myself as useless in your life as quick as possible, which is counterintuitive, right? So it's like, hey, let's help you get to a place where you just kind of like love life and everything's running like a well-oiled machine, like a business, like you said, and how you want it to run, and we'll go from there. And that's kind of it was almost accidental how I arrived on it, and I just realized
the accidental path is a common one. The accidental path can be a common one, and I think what you've said is really beautiful. So I want you guys to hear it. Sometimes other people see in you what you don't yet see in yourself. And you need to trust that. And that's why it's important that you're on your own journey, whether you're a solo entrepreneur who is scaling. Scale means something for everybody in a different way. It's the common world that means a million different versions. But if someone says to you, I see something in you, you need to just take it on faith that there is something there. It is a choice to pursue it. But I think it can also mean that if you're stuck in your struggle, one of the great things when you have a coach, whether it's Chris or myself or anybody else, is their goal is to help hold your vision when maybe you can't see it yet. Because a good coach doesn't blow BS at you. They're saying, I see a capability and showing you possibility. Talk a lot about blue sky with my clients, and I'm sure you do too, here is what is infinitely possible. You must take the actions. We can teach you how, but you must have the vision. But seeing something in other people is a gift. And if somebody says to you, I see something, have you thought of? Please take a moment, hit pause and listen, because that's where the nuggets are. I didn't set out to be a coach either. It was other people seeing this capability of growing talent and motivating and inspired and getting SHIT done that led me to where I am. It was a domino. And I love that you're saying the same thing. I didn't necessarily set out to be this path, but I could see in others and I wanted to give them opportunity. And I had an obligation to lift collectively. I absolutely love that. Did you ever have people that said, heck no, never me?
It's so funny because you talk about, of course, absolutely, all the time. And then on the other side of that is when you see potential in people and, but you've got a credible amount of potential and people are like, hey, thank you. You're like, well, potential means you're not doing it. But then it's also on the other side of it, coming from a world where everyone wants you to build more, bigger, better, more. You can do this, But I don't want to glance over the fact that there are some people that are like, no, I don't want to do that. And that's okay too. Right. So, I had a client that she's in real estate and she had her best month was better than she had 20 something transactions in a single month. It's like January, February. Nice. And she was like, I don't want to do that. She's like, is it okay? And I'm like, yeah, give yourself permission. She's like, I just want to do that in a year and be okay. And it was just to give her permission to say, well, what is it that you really want? You have to make sure that even so when we see things in people, we have to be very careful to make sure that they're encouraged to go in a direction based on our vision for them. And and that's where it's kind of, part art and part science, how you coach people. It's really to help them to discover what's important to them. Because if we don't design our own lives, somebody else might design it for us and we might not like the design they have. Quite often, we go to a school that mommy wants us to go to, and we get a job that daddy said we should get because we're going to do our 30 years, have our pension. And anybody out there, any entrepreneur, have you ever heard? I never went back to school. I never got my business degree. Everyone thought I was crazy. Don't you want to get a degree? And I'm like, why? So I could work for somebody? Those same people were asking me what I did when they got out with their big, giant, fat student loans. And I had no student loans. So, somebody told me, actually, one of my clients, we had a retreat recently. He said, experience plus failure equals success. So I don't want to glance over that it's a string of failures, really. But I always say have a great time doing it. So as long as you're having fun doing it, just keep going. And don't kind of make your success based on some kind of place where you're going to arrive, whether it's financially or client-wise or anything like that.
That's gold. Because I think we do this to ourselves. We think if this happens, then this happens. If then or that will happen. We do it from, I can't invest in my business because I am not seeing the revenue yet. If you invested in the right things, your revenue gets here more quickly. Is that a risk or is that an investment? Is that a cost or is it an expense or is it investment? And I think one thing you must always check on your journey to entrepreneurship is this the path I want? Because I heard something amazing today, and it was talking about, this adage when when you start out, lots of people say, we'll do what you love. And doing what you love is a good place to start, but it's also your comfort zone. And you must sit and reflect in your own silence. Is this the right path? Is this the right thing I do? You have to be cautious that, fear doesn't hold you back because you're living in your comfort zone. But at the same time, this is your journey. You get to rewrite anytime. You get to tweak the chapter. And I remember in a training I was doing with a networking group way back, maybe even last year, and someone says, well, we want to talk about scale. And so we were hot seating, and I said, well, tell me what scale means to you. And then it was kind of floated around the room. And I said, some of you, scale means a few more clients. Some of you, scale means moving internationally and hiring people. Other people think, oh, heck no, I never want the responsibility of staff. It's not what I love. I don't love that leadership of others. I like the leadership of self. So I think it's a really important point you make there is you get to choose. It's important that you reflect upon that choice and have the courage of, I don't need to live my business or my life by anybody else's measure of success.
Exactly.
I get to define it my own.
Well, it's how do you define it? And it's one of the questions I ask when I have a strategy session with somebody. It's like, hey, how many people are on your team? Is it just you, or is it 1 to 5 people, more than 5? Do you intend on hiring people in the future, or you just want to stay yourself, right? And this kind of idea of scaling, it's kind of in a digital world we're in. It's easy to do by yourself now. Like scaling could mean, like you said, a couple more clients. Scaling could mean I want to create online courses and things for people to make people to opt into my business while I'm not working on it. Right? There's so many different options out there right now, but it's very rarely do. I don't know if you have the same experience, but very rarely do you come across somebody that's got 100% clarity on who they are, what they're contributing to the world, what they do, what they want what they're going to accomplish, and the people that they work with. And it's so funny because so many times I'll ask a question and I think is a basic question. They're like, "Wow, it's a great question. I never thought of that." And I'm like, "You've been in business for 5 years. You never thought of, well, what do you accomplish your purpose in your clients, and what are they saying about you? If you're there listening, what types of things are they saying about you? Wow, never thought about that." Well, you should have thought about it earlier. And that's exactly what having coaches and consultants does in your life. Kind of shortens that curve, right? So,
clarity is everything. Again, and it is. And it's interesting because clarity is what we all seek. We sometimes like to avoid it because clarity means I must move. So there's a hesitation sometimes in that. But I will tell you, the biggest thing that will grow your business is clarity. Because people come to me all the time saying, I love how clear you are on what you do. My business name is Clear Acceleration. I should be bloody clear. That's what I often teach. It's often what I mentor. It's often what I really help you with, because we also need to sit down and review. One of the very first exercises I have anybody who wants to work with me do is a free resource. We talked about it on your stage. It's what does visualize your future look like? Because you must have a clarity where you want to go. And then think about, as we work together, is it still a fit? And if it's not, what comes next? And you mentioned that really at the start of our conversation, which is what comes next. That is the most important thing when you're looking at longevity, is to be thinking what comes next. 1, for you, 2, for your client journey, and what impact you want to make. So as you look to your future, what are you excited by what comes next for you, for your business, for your clients? Tell me a little bit about what that is for your vision.
It's funny because when I started doing this, well, I always laugh because being a coach, you get tons of people reach out to you. I mean, I think being a coach, a consultant, we're just the lowest hanging fruit for everybody out there. I help coaches do this. I help coaches do that. And I used to laugh at it and say, who's doing the work? If everybody's coaching coaches,
Great question.
It's just
stop assuming we're failing.
Well, it's like, but now I have clients that that's the next step for them, is kind of being able to share what they've learned and done with themselves, and bring that to the world. And it's now I find myself, instead of addition, multiplication, where developing leaders, developing people to go out there and say, great, take what you've learned and go impact your community, your tribe. So it's almost like I'm stepping into coaching coaches, which was something that a couple times in my life I laughed about something and said, "That's so funny." And now here I go. And
Well,
it's just
sometimes you never know, but that's
that's
also can be, this was a conversation I had this morning. I said, what comes next for me? I was asked that in a networking call with a woman who runs a very large women's networking group. And today, hello, every woman out there, it is International Women's Day. And she said, what comes next? And I said, I never realized how lacking the fundamentals were. So I will be launching a 6-month, very detailed 1-week coaching and training, 1-week open Q&A and hot seats to build foundations. Because what I realized when I was out there is you can't run when you don't have clarity. You don't have some of the foundations you need. And I never imagined that would be the twist my business would take. Exactly what you said is I didn't imagine this, but I see the need and I don't enjoy watching people struggle. And when I know I am called to serve, to say, I have a social obligation to help you. I can make the offer. You must choose to do the work. And I love that's what you've discovered on your path, because you can make an impact. And we need coaches. 100% we do. We need a better caliber of coaches, and we need people who can help the results be achieved more consistently, more predictably. Sorry, couldn't say that word.
Predictability.
It just didn't want to come out too many syllables. But that's such an important thing. So I love that you've discovered a new nugget. My last question for you today would be, what's the thing you wished you learned earlier in your journey? That moment looking back saying, if I'd known that, the path could have been less fraught with stress, anxiety, lost momentum. What would it be?
There's so many things I could say about that, but I remember when I really started to come into my own in my professional world, because I started so young. I started in business for myself at 21 years old. I had somebody come up to me and say, you don't talk like that. You don't sound like that. You don't do that. So once I started actually being authentic, and realizing, instead of me trying to be like the top producers I admired. In our world, look, we don't want to be like Tony Robbins. Some people do. They try that. They try to be like Tony Robbins and Brendan Burchard and all these guys. But then there's only one you, and be yourself. Everyone else is taken, and find out where you fit and kind of in the world. And it's that'll never come back void. And I think in every industry, I see it with salespeople, I see it with CEOs and C-level leadership, I see it with coaches. There's just people are they're so focused outside of themselves. They're trying to be what they think everybody else wants them to be. They're trying to be what they think they need to be. We're even talking in personal relationships. How many failed marriages, including my own, because you're trying to, hey, this is the husband or wife or father or mother I need to be, right? So if I could go back, I'm 41 now. If I could go back to my 21-year-old self, I'd save myself a lot of uphill battle, a lot of bumps and bruises, just by saying, just embrace yourself. It's okay. Be transparent. Here it is. Now I say, I'm like, hey, this is full frontal Chris. You can like me or you not like me, but at least I know it's really me, who you like or you don't. And I'm okay with that. Just being okay with that and not making yourself wrong, and just kind of having 100% personal accountability, I think, is a huge thing. Everybody's trying to look outside themselves and blame other people, but that's what I would say it is. Just be authentic and be accountable, and just have a great time doing it. Just have fun in everything you do. Tomorrow doesn't wait for anybody, so do it now.
I love that. I think it's a beautiful lesson. So thank you for sharing it, because it's true. It is exhausting being anybody else. It's hard to maintain long-term. And are you in your business for long-term? Then stop trying to be somebody else, because you will not have the endurance you need to make it happen. And at the same time, the thing I say, and we talked about it, I'm running some workshops this week. It's your story is the one you need to tell.
Yes.
Who you are is the lesson, and you're not for everybody. And there's great freedom in that. You want to repel the people that are not going to get your vibe, and attract those that say, I need a non-bullshit speaker to me. That I don't need something else. So own it, because you need to know there's 8 billion people on the planet. I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago on one of my lives. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody needs you for you. Show up for that one person. We make change by one person. We make the difference to ourselves first, lead ourselves into the future, lead ourselves into the habits we want to cultivate, and know that the voice we share is the one the world needs to hear. So great power in that, very motivational. I'm very in alignment with that. So how can people find you? Tell my community how to connect with you. What are you all about to? Anything you got going on the calendar?
My general, if you want to just connect on social media, chrisabazis.com. I sent it to you in the chat there, is you could connect with me online. That's kind of on my link tree where you can get to all my stuff. You can find me on social, and there you could, if you want to talk for 30 minutes, I could hop on the phone with anybody and kind of see if I can help you. And it's quite often I can, sometimes I can't, but most of the time I know somebody who can, like Christine here. So yeah, I'm out there, I'm available, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the virtual world.
That's awesome. We really appreciate you stopping by the Chasing Dreams, Making a Positive Impact community. Guys, this is Chris. This is Coach Abazis. I will drop his link into the chat as soon as we're done. Thank you for sharing space today. Thank you for being awesome and owning your story. We always love hearing that every business journey is different. This is Chris's story from real estate to coach, making an impact. Super glad to have you with us today. See you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.